What's up, gamers? The biggest confusion point within Riftbound so far and with its rules has been how interacting with the opponent works. In Riftbound, during your opponent's turn, you are able to interact with the things they are doing. So in this video, we'll be going over all the different speeds of cards and abilities and how chains work and how you resolve it. First thing we need to know is all the different types of speed we have. There are cards with reaction, there are cards with action, and then there are cards with neither of them. All of these can be played in different game states within a match. To get a better grasp of when we can play these types of abilities, we'll also need to go over different game states that you can be in. There are open states when there is no chain currently present, then you are allowed to play any type of spell or ability. And there's the opposite side with closed states where you are only able to use reaction spells and abilities. Paired alongside open and closed states, there's also a neutral state and a showdown state. Neutral means there's no showdown and all types of abilities and spells can be used here. And then a showdown is when a showdown is in progress. And during a showdown, you can only use action and reaction spells and abilities. There are 4 different types of game states. You're either neutral open, neutral closed, showdown open, or showdown closed. And whatever state you're in, the harshest rule of what types of spells you can play here is in effect. Here is an easy to follow chart on the different game states and the different times you can utilize a spell. So now what is a chain? So a chain triggers whenever a player either plays a card or activates an ability. During a chain, only cards with the reaction keyword can be played during it. Whenever a chain starts, the turn player starts the chain, and they have the option to either play a reaction effect or pass priority to the next player. A player can hold priority and essentially play as many reaction cards or effects they want before they pass it to the next player. Then whenever they pass priority, the next player can either play their reaction effect or pass priority to the next player. When all relevant players have pass priority, then the card or effect on top of the chain resolves first. You fulfill all of the effects, and then starting with the turn player on the next card in the chain, you start passing priority again, or you're able to play reactions whenever you have priority again. You go through this motion until no other cards or effects are left on the chain, and then the chain ends. And then you go back to whatever game state you were in. So all players will go through this motion every time someone plays a card or activates an ability. It is important to keep track of who has priority and make sure everyone in turn order is passing properly. The last thing I want to go over is understanding showdowns. Showdowns start when a player moves a unit to a battlefield they do not control. Starting with the player that started a showdown, they are in a focused state. Being focused means you have priority during the showdown, and you are able to play either an action or a reaction effect, which would end up starting a chain. If the player decides to use an action or reaction during this phase, then the chain starts, you go through all the motions of the chain, and then once it resolves, the current focus player can still play another action or a reaction. If they decide to pass, they pass focus priority to the next player, and then that player is able to play action or reaction effects, which would then start a chain where any player can now react to it. Focus and priority are 2 separate things. Focus is during a showdown and you're passing the ability to play actions or reactions, and priority is doing the chain when players are taking turns playing reaction effects. When all players pass on focus, then the showdown ends, and then you move into the combat step, which is where units will compare their mights, deal damage to resolve who controls that battlefield. And that is it for chains and spell speed. Hopefully this gives you a very basic idea of how it works. If you want to know more about it, Riot posted a full comprehensive rules page, and they have a whole section on chains and spell speeds and all of that. So I highly recommend checking that out if you want to learn more about it. If you want to keep up with all things Riftbound, I'll be posting all of the card reveals on my channel on the day they are revealed. So if you are interested in that, please subscribe. My goal is to hit 500 subs by the end of the summer, and I hope you enjoy this content enough to consider it. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.